Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today we are talking about the potential of even more Xbox games coming over to the Nintendo Switch 2. We have a new rumor suggesting that Forza Horizon 5 will be coming over, as well as Halo Master Chief, Diablo 4, Starfield, basically the entire slate, so I wanted to really focus on that today. But we also have a rumor, or I suppose a better term would be evidence, supporting a very early February Direct for Nintendo Switch 1 game, so that's what we're talking about today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 news, review, speculation, I would appreciate you subscribing, but let's get into it. Okay, so if you've been on any social media today, you know the big news is that Microsoft confirmed Forza Horizon 5 for PS5, and this has been rumored for a very long time. Xbox has been bringing all of their games over, not necessarily slowly. I was going to say it's been like a slow process. It really hasn't been. If you think about it, Xbox being a multi-plat publisher is really... that's a pretty new development within the past 12 months, because they had that big meeting last February where they announced, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Pentiment, all these things coming over. We now have confirmation that Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5 this spring. And without any rumors, I immediately thought that was extremely suspect. Why is this port of this old game coming out in spring, but you don't have a date for it? Well, we do have an actual rumor here from Ecstasis. This is someone who has their own YouTube channel. They've had pretty reliable information in the past. I don't think everything they've said has been a 100% hit, but they quote tweeted Forza Horizon 5 coming to PS5 here, and they said, by the way, next stop is Nintendo Switch 2. When I saw that this game was announced for PS5 without a date, I immediately was like, oh, well, that's because they're waiting to see when Nintendo's launching the Switch. Or maybe if they do know, either way, they don't want to put a date on it because then that would compromise Nintendo's launch plans. I think this is a absolute 100% lock as a Switch 2 launch title. I posted a video last week going over my launch title predictions. I completely forgot to mention Forza Horizon or some sort of racing game. If you want to have a good racing game on your console at launch, Forza Horizon 5 is really no better game to start with, and I think it just makes total sense. I'm actually very excited to play Forza Horizon 5. I played 3 and 4 back when I had an Xbox One, and those games are absolutely incredible. Genuinely, as someone who doesn't really play racing games, having this huge open world sandbox, having like the Lego or the Hot Wheels DLC in either game, Forza Horizon is like actually really good. Even if you don't like racing games, they are genuinely very, very good games. And Forza Horizon 5 supposedly is one of the best Xbox exclusives in air quotes now, that Xbox has put out in the past decade. It's one of the highest reviewed games they've had, so it makes sense that they're going to bring it to other platforms. I also feel similarly about Indiana Jones. They announced this one for spring on PS5 back at Gamescom opening night live. We are inching ever closer towards spring, and that does not have a release date. I feel like they are waiting to find out when the Switch 2 is releasing so they can actually announce a date. It just feels weird to me to announce a port of this old game and not have a date associated with it. So yeah, lock it in. That's the Botox Games prediction. I think Forza Horizon 5 will pop up on the Switch 2 on launch day, and that will do very well. Forza Horizon, like I said, very good game. Switch and even PlayStation don't really have games like this of that caliber, of like an open world racing sandbox. So this game is going to absolutely shred on both of these platforms. We did also have this other rumor from Ecstasis. I think I talked about it in a different video, but he said here, Diablo 4, Starfield, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Starfield coming to Nintendo Switch 2 in one of his recent videos. I'll have this Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit post linked down below. But he said Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, Halo Master Chief Collection at full price, it seems, Diablo 4 currently scheduled for 2025 according to his sources, a Call of Duty game. He doesn't know which one. He speculates Black Ops 6, 2025 COD or Warzone. I mean, obviously it's going to be one of those three. Fallout 4, as well as Starfield, and then he also says Tekken 8 and Elden Ring. That is a pretty good lineup of games, especially if all of these are targeting 2025. What's interesting is Jez Corden actually, when talking about Halo on PS5, said that he heard Master Chief Collection is first out of Halo, Forza, and Gears to come over. And Forza is currently announced for spring. Maybe just Corden sources are mixed up. Who knows? But it sounds like Halo Master Chief Collection is absolutely happening this year, at the very least on PS5. But if it's happening on PS5, I would certainly wager a guess that it will probably come to Switch 2 at the same time. But yeah, some of these we've talked about before. Microsoft Flight Sim, I mean, that's going to be really interesting to see how well that runs on the Switch 2. I don't think it's going to be an issue. People are saying it can't run Flight Sim. Flight Sim uses a lot of cloud technology, so I'll be curious to see how the Switch handles it from that perspective of well, how is the internet going to be? How is the internet functionality of the Switch 2 going to be? But I'm not really worried about Flight Sim, and, it's not something that I play. It's not something that I think most gamers play, but it is something that is very popular outside of our, I guess, hardcore bubble. So Flight Sim coming over that's a no-brainer. Master Chief Collection, what's interesting is there are rumors of a Halo Combat Evolved remake happening, and I thought the idea was they were remaking it so that way PlayStation and Nintendo players would have that beginning entry point. But it sounds like we're going to get MCC and then also get that Halo 1 remake maybe a year or two from now, which is, I mean, that's cool. That's really cool, actually. I'll totally go for another replay of Halo 1, give it a full Unreal Engine 5 remake now that 343 is now Halo Studios and they're getting off of their own engine and going to Unreal 5. So, frankly, this is the best of both worlds if we get MCC and then we also get a remake of Halo 1. Full price, I know some people will scoff at that. I think it's a really good package. It's a lot of Halo games in there. So, if they want to charge $60 for it, I think that's totally fine. Diablo 4 is one that I wasn't planning on playing, but I actually played on PS5 back when that came out in 2023. Currently scheduled for 2025, according to his sources. Diablo 3 is on Switch. You know, it's one of those few things that's few Western, like, major third-party things that Blizzard brought over. So Diablo 4, assuming Diablo 3 did decently, it just makes a lot of sense for that one to come over as well. A Call of Duty game. I have had a lot of internal conflict on what will happen here because the rumor right now is that Black Ops 7, the game coming out this year, is being led by Treyarch, and it's basically a DLC to Black Ops 6 in a way that, you know, people always say, oh, Call of Duty is the same every year. That is quite literally true now in some years. Modern Warfare 3 last year, or I guess in 2023, was essentially a major DLC for Modern Warfare 2. The names get really confusing now because they you know, rebooted Modern Warfare, but the idea is that the game coming out this year is basically a DLC that will build off of Black Ops 6. You'll be able to use your Black Ops 6 guns and maps and stuff. That's all going to be playable in this new version. So I feel like based on that, they would almost have to put Black Ops 6 on the Switch 2. Like, it's just free money. You're already getting the engine. You're already getting all those assets running on Switch 2. Why not put Black Ops 6 on there on launch day? And then you can still have your Black Ops 7 in the holiday period. I mean, like, why not? You know, it'd be kind of weird if they didn't. And if not that, at the very least, I would expect Warzone on a release day. But then once again, all those assets are shared. It's all a shared experience now. You'd probably just go ahead and sell Black Ops 6 on release day. Fallout 4, this is the one on this list I could see maybe not happening this year. There was that rumor, or not rumor, there was something that Imran Khan from formerly of Game Informer said. He said that Pete Hines, before he left Bethesda, told Game Informer that Fallout 4 was planned for the Switch 1. So it's going to be really exciting to see what games they go back to. I mean, we're talking about Starfield, Halo, Diablo, Microsoft Flight Sim, a lot more of the recent games that have come out or currently supported games like Halo. Fallout 4 is just old. I guess there was that next-gen version that came out around the time of the show, but I'm going to be very curious to see, like, will they go back and do the Evil Within? You know, if we're going back into Bethesda's back catalog, will we get Wolfenstein The New Order? We got the new Colossus on Switch 1. Will they go back and do the rest of those Old Blood? Will they give us Prey? Will they give us Rage 2? Like, how deep are they going to go into the well to bring back old games? Will we get stuff like Crackdown 3? Probably not, but it's going to be very exciting to see. I would love if they work out something with Sony and Insomniac to get Sunset Overdrive on modern platforms. But yeah, Fallout 4, kind of a no-brainer. I just wouldn't expect it necessarily this year. Maybe they time that early next year for Season 2 of the show. I think that would make a lot of sense. And then, yeah, Starfield, I think this is one that's going to happen later this holiday season. The Starfield Shattered Space expansion didn't really move the needle much, I don't think, for Starfield fans or BGS fans. You got to get that game on more platforms, get some more life into it. It hasn't come to PS5 yet. I think this is something they're saving maybe for an Xbox June showcase announcement, or maybe they'll do a press release like they did for Forza Horizon this morning. But Starfield, I definitely think we see it announced and come to Switch 2 and PS5 on the same day, probably in the holiday, probably around September, which is when the game originally launched on Xbox. So a bit of a 2-year exclusivity window, we'll say, for Starfield before it came over. There's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot of great games that Xbox has published on top of, like, Indiana Jones, their current slate of Doom, The Dark Ages, South of Midnight coming out, Vowed, Outer Worlds 2 later this year, another one that I think would come to Switch 2 since it's also coming to PS5. Like, Xbox is going to be a massive, massive supporter of Nintendo Switch 2. We actually heard as much from Phil Spencer. He was doing an interview. This is from the Gamertag Radio podcast. Phil Spencer said some interesting things there regarding Switch 2. He said, quotes, "I was exchanging emails with Furukawa-san, the CEO of Nintendo. I gave him a big congrats and said my old eyes appreciate the larger screen in regards to the Switch 2 reveal. Quotes, Nintendo, their innovation and what they mean in this industry. I just always applaud the moves they make. They did a little flash video, and I know we'll get more detail over time. I'm really looking forward to supporting them with the games that we have. have, and I just think that they're a really important part of this industry. It's hard with what's publicly out there right now for everybody to get their heads around it, but who would ever bet against the success of that team? They are just masterful in what they do. Switch is a massive success, and I think the Switch 2 will be as well. Shout out to my buddy Tucker for making this thumbnail for Gamertag Radio. Hell yeah, Tucker. But yeah, when you have Phil Spencer coming on the podcasts already and saying like, yeah, we're excited to support the Switch 2 with our games, we're going to see a lot. Like, out of every publisher, you know, we're talking a lot about Ubisoft flooding the Switch 2 with all of their old games from the PS4 gen. That will probably happen to all those old Assassin's Creeds, all those old Far Cry games. Xbox is the one that is probably, they will probably have more published games on the Switch 2 than Nintendo. Like, I think that's a reasonable, almost reasonable expectation, because not only are they going to do all of their back catalog, they're going to keep supporting it into the future. I mean, if we get Forza Horizon 5, that means we'll probably end up getting Forza Horizon 6, 7, 8, like, you know, these are biannual games. So Xbox is going to be supporting the Switch 2 a lot, and, you know, they've had some missteps, but their current lineup of games, especially when you look at like Ninja Gaiden 4 published by them, you have Outer Worlds, Indie just came out, got great reviews. It feels like Xbox has finally found their footing, at least in terms of getting really great software out there. They've raised the white flag in terms of hardware, but in terms of software, they are becoming one of the best publishers, and that's really exciting, you know? Now, beyond the Xbox talk here, I did want to mention this. I saw this on Gaming Leaks and Rumors this morning and thought it was interesting. If you're watching for a Switch 1 February Nintendo Direct, if you're excited for some more Nintendo news on your current Nintendo Switch, it seems like the next Nintendo Direct date may have kind of leaked, not necessarily, but it is an interesting point of data to look at here. So it says a next Nintendo Direct date, quote, confirmed through transfer data maintenance times. For context, folks discovered that Nintendo's transferred user data and transferred save data are having maintenance late on February 4th US time. Now, I've always seen people talking about like Nintendo maintenance and how like, oh, the eShop is going to be down. That means the Direct's happening. Usually, from what I understand, that never actually means anything. I have not seen people talk about this transfer user data maintenance before, but it's happening on Tuesday in the evening here in the US. And this user over on Famiboards King noticed that there's an interesting bit of a pattern here. He points out in this post that out of the past 5 directs, 3 of them lines up with this user transfer save data maintenance. It's probably just a coincidence, but that is extremely suspect, you know, especially when we're already talking about there being a February Direct. Now, this is on February 4th. Now that's earlier than I was expecting. But if we look at our calendar here, February 4th is a Tuesday, but then the 5th is a Wednesday. My issue with it being on Wednesday is that their investor meeting is on the 4th. I feel like if you're going to have your Direct that close to your investor meeting, which they normally do, usually it's like a week or so after, why wouldn't you have the Direct before the investor meeting so that way you can talk to your investors about what you announced? That feels a little odd to me, but based on this, if this pattern is going to hold true, if it even is a pattern, if you want to look into it too deeply, we might be looking at a Nintendo Direct as soon as next week on the 5th, which is going to be really exciting for Switch 1 games. It's earlier than I said. I was saying in my last video I posted that I was expecting the Direct to be on the 12th, which is the week of Valentine's Day, so really just a week later, but based on this, I mean, we're expecting a February Direct. There's a seemingly weird pattern of the maintenance for the save data transfer tool. Could this mean February 5th Direct? I think so. I think it's very possible, but I do think it's a little weird based on their investor meeting timings. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of this? Do you think we're looking at a February 5th Nintendo Direct for Switch 1 games, or do you think it's bogus? You can't look into this. And I got a lot of comments being like, oh, I don't even think there's going to be a February Direct, which I was surprised by. I think it's almost a guarantee that we get one. I'd be shocked if I was wrong on that, but I mean, we'll see. We'll find out in like a week or two if we end up getting a February Direct. And if not, hey, Pokemon Presents coming up at the end of the month. Excited for that. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of all these Xbox games seemingly coming over to the Nintendo Switch 2? And what do you think of this potential evidence, we'll say, of a Nintendo Direct happening in just a couple of days, which would be very exciting. Of course, if that does happen, I will be streaming my reactions to it. Excited to see whatever Nintendo has in store for Switch 1 owners in 2025. So let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 news, reviews, coverage, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalkGames, and check out my other channel at It's Amiibo. Posted a video there for the first time in 2 weeks this morning, going over the games I played in January. Played Other M for the first time, played Miracle Mask, played Star Fox Assault for the first time, played a lot of weird stuff for the first time. So if you want to hear my thoughts on those games, I'll have that link down below as well. Until next time, folks, peace.